Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. We're here, folks. Devers traded to San Francisco. Ohtani's coming back. It's a baseball summer. Let's yuck. Kyle Harrison.
Trevor Plouffe, 2014.
Get it out of the seats. That's a foul ball. It's a foul ball. Just missed it. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. Code TALKIN 2025. It's a big one, folks. I'm Jake Storielli. That is Trevor Plouffe. Rob is here producing, and we are honest. It's going to be a fun one, and it's not going to be our normal episode, people. You know, we normally dive into the game, see what we can find, relay that to you the best we can. We had one of the bigger, more surprising trades go down in Major League Baseball history. Devers from Boston to the San Francisco Giants. We're going to unpack the whole thing. The Devers side, the Red Sox side, the Giants side. What's next? And I get to do it all with the birthday boy, the father, the Holy Spirit, Trevor Plouffe.
That's a pretty good intro right there.
Thank
yes,
you.
Yesterday, birthday, Father's Day. We would have went live yesterday.
Yeah.
We talked about it. Unfortunately for our listeners, I had like 50 people at my house, like middle of a shindig. I couldn't just break away. Although that would have been fun if we just had like a rotating cast of characters behind me. I wasn't sloppy yesterday, but my thoughts would have been all over the place. So I'm happy we waited. Because man, I got my Giants hat on. I got my Ricky t-shirt on.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk ball. It's crazy what went down this week, because it's multiple big stories, and I think I don't know. I'm so curious to hear your side of this Devers news, because it's juicy. This is like soap opera stuff.
It really is. It's where sports in general, and luckily our baseball gets to steal the spotlight for a little bit, which it isn't normally its strength. But you're right. Sports are still the best reality TV show. And this is, the example going forward. Rafael Devers, the star of the Red Sox, the guy they gave the bag to, because A, he's incredible, and B, they were making up for the Mookie Betts situation a little bit, which I don't know how much we're going to have to circle up on that during this one. I guess, although a lot of people are comparing it, so we can cover that. The trade itself, the Boston Red Sox traded away Rafael Devers. They got back a couple prospects, Tibbs and another Bayo. Tibbs was the 14th pick in the draft, so hey, he's a real prospect. Let's see what that turns out in 3 years. And then Jordan Hicks, one of those creative relief pitcher, starting pitcher contracts that we saw a couple years ago. Started off strong for the Giants, really struggled this year. I almost view that as part of the money in this equation, while the Red Sox get an arm for some upside. And young Kyle Harrison, who I've talked about a lot recently, and it's one of the guys that made me interested in the Giants this year, of him not making the team out of camp, because he was talented left arm, big prospect, hasn't lived up to it yet necessarily, but we still bank on talent. I guess, Coach Trev, walk us through the instant reaction at the party and get us to where you're at now.
It's funny because I had a lot of Dodgers fans over. I also had some Giants fans over. So there was a little bit of mixed reaction. I think for Dodgers fans, they were completely, they don't like this trade. It's not good for the Dodgers. It makes this division completely different. Giants fans, obviously, very, very happy. This is instant reaction. Absolutely love it for the Giants. I understand they're paying a lot of money for what's essentially going to be a DH, but they've had issues bringing in free agents. I know Chapman and Adames have come in, and maybe that storyline isn't as big as it was when they were missing out on Correa, or they gave up on Correa, missed out on Judge, all those things. They've had trouble kind of finding a middle of the order bat. I think that's a better way to put it. And they've tried to go get it through free agency. You haven't really been able to do that. Adames and Chapman, I don't think, are middle of the order bats. Now, are they really good players on your team? Absolutely. But Devers is a premier bat in this league. And one way to go get one rather than having to fight against 30 different teams, is to go out and make a trade for one when you see a strained relationship in another organization. So I think Buster Posey has done just a phenomenal job. He's so active. We just talked last week about how he brought in Dom Smith and was it Daniel Johnson? I hope I'm not messing that up. Who hit a homer yesterday? He wanted to provide a spark for his team. He said we can do better, and they're 41-30 right now. Okay, we can do better. So he goes and pulls that off, and then here we are now. He goes and gets Rafael Devers and doesn't look great. You got their number 2 prospect, last year's 13th overall pick, but he doesn't give up a ton to bring in this guy. Yes, it's the money is the biggest thing here, but I think for the Giants, this is A++ deal for them, and it makes them a completely different ball club. I mean, it makes them absolute contenders if they weren't already for the National League West. I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath down the stretch.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to slice it up, and we're just peeling one layer of the onion. But Devers is the best lefty hitter they've had since Bonds. Hey, a couple nice Brandon Belt years in there. You love yourself some Brandon Belt, but like we're bringing in a different caliber of hitter, and there's also a really fun new age sports versus old sports, because in old sports, this trade never happens. In old sports, Rafael Devers, to trade for him in any matter, you'd have to empty the entire farm system, and it would have to be a rebuild, and he'd have to be unhappy, which, well, definitely unhappy. But for Red Sox fans, coming off of the best weekend of Red Sox baseball in arguably 4 years or so, to have this be the after effect. I like that you started with a lot of the Giants and Buster Posey, who things have clearly changed there. Like, They went out and they got Willy Adames, and they went and they got it done early. Because if they didn't, Willy Adames probably ends up on another team, because they got the big bid out there to get the signing over with before free agency really took off and the Soto sweepstakes happened. That if they didn't do that, they don't get Willy. I know Willy's been struggling. He's been playing a little better lately. And also, Trev, you know that this stuff actually matters. Another Dominicano brother for Devers in the infield God, I can't even wait to talk about the infield stuff with you, because is Devers thrown on the glove? Because the Giants,
I don't think so.
Giants also, they also happen to have the best defensive third baseman in the game. They do have a hole at first base that's just going to be such good drama. I do think I want to cover what I hit on for a second there, that value-wise is going to be very interesting for this deal, because Rafael Devers, and there's a lot of ways you can cut up his stats. If you remember, he started the year on an 0 for 19. If you start at that point, he's basically been a top 5 hitter in baseball this year, which is April 1st, ironically, which a lot of seasons used to start there. But, you can't cut out every player slump, but his was literally to start the season. Since then, he's been incredible. That for the Red Sox side of this, the money is $250 million the rest of the way for a player that may be a DH the rest of the way. So there is a factor in that. They did come out and they said, hey, if you're a guy or the Boston Globe, a guy that they're paying $300 million at the start of the contract, they want you to be a leader. They want you to be the clubhouse guy. And we've talked about this with a guy like Marcus Semien when he got his bag. We're like, you said it. You're like, dude, if I was a front office and I'm paying a guy, Marcus Semien, like work ethic wise, everything you want from a leader. And I think even if you're the biggest Devers stan in the world, you can't get in front of a mic right now and be like, he was doing that part of it. But I think it was the value that Devers can potentially bring from the DH position or not bring from the DH position. All the young players coming up for Boston, that the way they spend or handle their money the rest of the way is going to be a huge part of this for them.
For the Red Sox or for the Giants?
For the Red Sox.
Yeah, I don't even. We gotta stay on course here, because there are so many different paths that we can go. Let me finish some Giant stuff before I think Red Sox to me is the juiciest part. I can't really talk about it. It's so dirty. It's so dirty there. I think he is a DH for the Giants. I think it's like going to be a Wilmer Flores, Dom Smith, Gerard Encarnacion,
Ooh.
little platoon over there at first base, because Devers has stated he wasn't going to play first base. Maybe his attitude changes because he's got a new girl. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he was mad at his old girl. Likes this new one. He'll do different things. So maybe he ends up playing first base. I don't think that happens, though. But I guarantee his demeanor and the way he goes about his business will change with the change of scenery. Yeah, but for the Giants, I think 100% DH. I think that they're getting. He brings everything you want in a hitter. A left-handed bat with pop who has great or unbelievable plate discipline, and you want him up in big spots. I mean, this is your postseason hero type guy that you have up there. Like, they needed this in the worst way. They do a lot of things really well there in San Francisco. Hitting for pop isn't one of them. And having, like I said, that middle of the order, scary bat that just anchors your lineup. They didn't have that. They haven't had that. So it's so massive for them. I can't even begin to, overstate how big this is for the Giants. So look, I think that's it for the Giants side. I don't think they care about the value.
There's
the money,
more. There's more, Trev.
Like
I got more on everything.
They just want to win.
And I think one of this isn't really anything, but baseball hot in the streets. Sox and Giants playing this week, and you could go see it with SeatGeek. Our partners at SeatGeek, they're bringing you this episode. They're with us all year long because they're the #1 rated ticketing app. That sounds good. Go see a game. Go see Devers in a Giants uni. Is he playing first? Is he not playing first? Hey, NBA and NHL, they're wrapping up. Go see a concert this summer. I got jealous. I saw some concert IG stories going on this weekend. Poppy hasn't been on his concert game lately. Whatever you're going to see, go to it with SeatGeek. Code TALKIN2025. That's going to save you 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. 10% off any tickets with promo code TALKIN2025 at SeatGeek. Go see Devers. Trev,
Coach, they're playing this weekend?
Yes, Trev. I know.
God.
You and Matthew were on the tequila shooter train.
We were watching the U.S. Open yesterday, okay?
How about
Which was
that?
Incredible, too.
JJ Spawn, short king.
Before we move on, JJ Spawn, this quick, because it's baseball related.
Right.
Went to San Diego State.
Okay.
But I think he grew up in L.A., not sure on that. He pulled out his scorebook yesterday. Dodgers scorebook.
Wow.
Yeah, when he was writing, finishing up, making sure he had no errors on that scorecard. Dodgers scorebook.
Everything coming up.
Is that what you call it? The thing they put in their back pocket?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're all over it. Okay. That was talking golf a little bit. I'm not ruling out Devers first base at all, but
this year?
That's the interesting part. And that's where, so the Giants are being run by Buster Posey. Your guy Randy Wynn in the mix with the Giants front office. They brought in a bunch of ball players, Trev.
Some ball players.
They brought in enough of the geeks.
Pop ting.
/ Buster, I think, is a sneaky geek. And the secret around all analytics is they're just stats and it's how you use them. But ball players, they saw really good hitter available. Let's go get really good hitter. I think Devers, because the whole thing was salty drama. We talked about this. I think if Devers had been discussed about playing some third and first, that he would have been very open to it if they just had normal conversations. That, hey, man, the early rumors out of Devers camp is that he's pretty happy that things had gotten so negative and bad that he's stoked. So many times we talk about a player getting traded and you got to move your family or move across the coast. Devers, early returns is he's excited that I wouldn't be shocked if he's screw them. I can play first base. Give me the glove. Let's do it. I could also see them more so doing hey, for this year, DH, knock yourself out. And hey, dude, if you're done in the field, you're done. But we have Matt Chapman. So, we're being open and honest with you, which you didn't have with your other girl. They were, Breggy's going to play second base. Oh, why did he leave his underwear here? I think that Devers, I think he wants to play defense, that if the Giants say, hey, dude, for this year, you're good, but we'd love if in the offseason you trained for it, and you want to come back and next year do some first base, we're in on that. If I'm Rafael Devers, one of the best athletes in the world, one of the best competitors in the world, I'd say give me one of those mitts and let's see what happens.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I mean, that's the point I was trying to make earlier, relating it to a broken home. I'm a product of a broken home.
Right.
So I saw my dad.
We're both children.
I'm speaking general terms right
We're
here,
both
okay?
children of divorce, is what you're saying.
If this has played out, this scenario has played out in many new marriages where the dad goes off and starts doing things he didn't typically do with the first family, and you're like, what's going on here? Why is dad acting so weird? Why is he doing these things? He never did that before, and now he is. Same situation here. But I do think that the communication aspect of this is the entire thing. It started the ball rolling, the lack of communication in the offseason with Rafael Devers. I think this does bring us probably to the Red Sox portion of this. Devers got cast in a bad light, and I think he deserves some of it. I think he deserves some of the way he handled the media, and part of me thinks like second language is a thing still, and like tone and context, all that stuff matters. The lack of communication started this in the offseason as they were trying to get Arenado, as they were trying to get Bregman. I think immediately, as soon as some of those things get leaked out into the press, like, hey, rumors are they're trying to get these guys. That's Craig Breslow's or Alex Cora. I think more Breslow. That's when you have to start calling your third baseman that is signed for 8 years and $300 million. You have to call him and say, look, this is what we're thinking, man. You're a big part of our organization. You're our guy. You're the face of our franchise. We think we can make our club better, and this is how we're going to do it. I want to be open with you. This is our thoughts going into the season. They didn't do that. So all of a sudden, Alex Bregman is there, and everyone's like, hey, what's going to happen? And that happened pretty close to spring training, didn't it?
The Bregman signing was late, yeah.
Later. So, there wasn't a lot of time for Devers to wrap his head around it or learn a new position in the offseason. And plus they were saying he might not play third base, which is so
right.
The dumbest thing that the Red Sox ever did in this situation was talk about Bregman playing second base. That was never going to happen. He was going to play third base for them. Okay.
Yes.
So the lack of communication there started this entire thing. And then, going into spring training, Devers had some bad interviews, some bad quotes. It looked bad. But it was a product of the lack of communication from the front office to him. And then one thing after another. I think Craig Breslow he's done some really good things with the Boston Red Sox. And maybe this will turn into something that ends up being really good. You bring in Crochet, you get Bregman, you bring in Chapman, but I truly believe that just that one phone call in the offseason or the lack of that phone call in the offseason is what started this entire thing.
God, the Boston side is so crazy. Juicy, Trev. I think Boston's front office, I think they're trying to pitch a perfect game, which let's find out in a couple years. But we've got these super prospects on the way. This group of three that we've been talking about a lot with Campbell, Anthony, and Mayer. That they're hunting for playing time for these guys. They called up Mayer this weekend. By the way, they swept the Yankees. That should have been what we led the show with. Instead, we're not. And they couldn't really get Roman Anthony on the field. They still kind of have a logjam because Wheeler Abreu is supposed to come back at some point. That people are wondering, is Duran on the table? We don't have a ton of Boston fans at the office. I heard one of them say that maybe we're going to extend Duran with that money now, which that's not what I'd expect if the tea leaves I've gotten from this offense early on. So something about value, which we're going to talk about a lot with this trade. And I mentioned with the money and how are the Red Sox going to move on next. And there's a whole Liverpool soccer side to this, Trev, that I don't know if you're even in.
Yeah, that's in the weeds with John Henry.
If you're in that wormhole yet. I I guess for me, man, if you're someone that's debating the value of the trade and, hey, maybe we're going to wake up in 3 years and be like, dude, the Red Sox are stacked. They used the money on more pitching. Just incredible stuff by them. They figured it out. Maybe Devers is struggling. It's not a great hitter's ballpark. Rafael Devers would not be available to trade if the drama wasn't happening. If the drama wasn't if Devers had grabbed the first base glove, or they all figured it out, and Devers was playing first base, he would not have been on the table. So for people going through, Devers OPS, and he's a DH now and what his value would be, if the drama wasn't happening, he would not have been available to be traded. And I just think that's one of the bigger eye-opening points for me is that, people don't think the contract's going to age well and what's it going to look like. I don't really care about that. You got one of the best hitters in baseball, and I do think if you go through Devers' stats year by year, there was either like one injury blip for a month, or there was the slump month, which I can't excuse a slump month for him. I think there's more in there, and he showed that this year with the walks thing you've mentioned before. Devers was one of the bigger chase guys in baseball, and he'd also hit a lot of bad balls. But this year, he was leading the American League in walks, which as a lot of hitters age and they get older, you get a better eye. You've seen more pitches that, it doesn't feel fluky that if he opens up that part of his game, there's so much more there hitting-wise that the drama is the reason he got traded, which the Giants took advantage of. Now, let's see if Boston can take advantage of that. But Trev, coming off, again, what could have been one of their best weekends of baseball in 4 or 5 years, and that's quoting our guy Zoe, who's a Boston Red Sox fan, to drop this on them after, to bank on prospects, which, man, go ask the Orioles how banking on prospects can go for you sometimes. And the Orioles aren't dead, but this year has been really tough for them. It feels like this new Boston front office thinks they're the bee's knees and that they're about to set up a dynasty to rule them all. And they better hope they do, because otherwise then people, are going to compare this to the Mookie Betts trade, which Devers isn't Mookie Betts, but God, he's really damn good.
Shout out the Orioles for sweeping the Angels.
Yeah,
Gotta get
they're
that
back.
in there.
They're back.
And don't you dare just drop a Lord of the Rings reference.
I know
on
you'd
me
like
and just
that.
Keep going. That's
I know you'd
ridiculous
like that.
right there. If Tristan Casas doesn't get hurt, we're not talking about this, because Devers is still just the DH. Instead of they had to ask him to play first base, and he was like, "No."
Wow.
That, I think that might have been like the final nail in the coffin. I think about this, Jake.
Okay.
And this is pure speculation. So it's almost like a fan fiction right here. You're John Henry, you're Craig Breslow, and you get on a PJ. I got to go to Kansas City.
Right.
Beautiful town, love it. Hey, let's get some barbecue while we're there.
Yeah.
But we got to go talk to our star we just gave $300 million to. Let's hop on the PJ and get down there. Alex Cora, come in the meeting with us. You have this conversation with Devers. Probably didn't go great. Whatever they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Good conversation. Bullshit.
Yeah.
I guarantee they left in that PJ together and were like, man, how much are we paying this guy? Okay. Didn't the Yankees just get rid of Soto and completely make their team better by spending all the money on different pieces and not locking into one player? Don't we have some kind of a logjam with all these position players we have? On that flight, I bet they decided we're going to get this done. Think about that.
Well,
you went and saw him in Kansas City, flew in there. I guarantee that was when it was like, all right, let's at least kick the tires on this. What would it look like if we traded Devers? What would that bring? How much money would we save? Who could we bring in next year? Kyle Tucker. This is.
Do we got room?
This is one of the juicier things that's happened in baseball in a long time.
Do we got room in that outfield? We might need more pitching, which they get more.
But I don't mean to bring the Yankees into it,
right.
But that is it's what happened with them. Soto leaves, goes to the Mets. The $40 million a year or $50 million a year that they were going to have to spend on him. They reallocated. They brought in Max Fried. They brought in Devin Williams. All these things, like, they made their team better overall because they split the money around.
Right, but if I asked you yesterday who is the best player on the Boston Red Sox, who would you have said?
Crochet or Devers.
Yeah, I guess I'll say position players. I think Crochet Devers has his own argument. For me, it's Devers. Duran went nuts last year, but consistency in baseball.
I don't think that's even a question. It's Devers.
And I guess that's what I'm saying, Trev. This is a team that came into this year with World Series aspirations. Like, they, quote unquote, were one of the winners of the offseason. You can do all of the, okay, we can't be spending that much on a DH, and we've got these young guys who are going to come up and be special, and maybe they are, and maybe that's the holy smokes. We're looking at Roman Anthony, Meyer, and Campbell in a couple weeks, and we're like, damn. That's why they did this. And maybe maybe that conversation wasn't ugly. Maybe they were like, Devers, like, we might actually trade you. And he was like, all right, I don't think that's what they talked about. I think you're right. I think it got a little hostile. I think it was one of those conversations that
it probably got awkward in there, dude. That's what kind of like, if you're a player, think about it. You're in Kansas City and you want to go hit, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, the owner's flying in.
Yeah.
And so is Craig, a guy that clearly you don't have a good relationship with. And they want to have a meeting. As a player, like, what?
Right.
Like, why? Like, what? This meeting has nothing to do with me, although it really does. Right. There's no way that meeting went well. There's no freaking way that went well.
I like to think of it as, for me personally, I think, other people probably have it differently. But when you have one of those interactions, like if someone bumps into you on the street and they're a dick or something, you replay it in your head. And for me, I go back in the shower and I'm like, oh, I should have said, shove that cookie up your ass. That I feel like every person that was in that meeting went back to the shower and was replaying the combo and being like, oh, I should have told Breslow this.
It's like an episode of, if you watch Succession, like,
right.
Like, I don't know, that's just a different type of life, like a John Henry lived with, or it has, man, like huge, crazy decisions that have huge ramifications and across sport. And oh my gosh, dude, this is
Trev.
It's really fun. I guess Boston Red Sox fans, let us know. I think it's not that fun. I think you're upset.
Yes,
but there is the caveat of, well, let's wait and see how we reallocate the money.
Yes.
That's the only really joy that you can find from this. Okay, we brought in some pitching help. Like, I don't think that is going to soften the blow enough for losing Devers after you traded away Chris Sale for Von Grissom, after Mookie Betts leaves, all these things. But I think that is your one saving grace, is show us what you're going to do with this money now. Like, you got to do it. And now the pressure's on Breslow and the rest of the front office to, like, they have to hit a home run with whatever they do with that money.
Trev, there's more. There's more, and it's brought to you guys by Corona. You talked about how juicy this is. I mean, kick back, grab a Corona, and enjoy the ride.
Yesterday,
yeah, you did, and you should have.
Did.
Birthday, Father's Day. I mean, that is
big day for Trev. Yeah.
That is the one. There was a lot of Coronas. There's a lot of dads drinking Coronas across this great country. And for us baseball guys, there's nothing quite like sharing a Corona, relaxing and enjoying every unpredictable moment with friends. So go ahead, turn the cheap seats into your own private island or your back porch into a sports bar oasis to your favorite neighbors. Trev with 50 friends there, a couple celebs, whatever. Crack open a Corona, squeeze in a lime, and enjoy America's favorite pastime with Mexico's favorite present time. Get yours. Order Corona.com. 21 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Import, Chicago, Illinois.
Can I just say one thing before we move on?
Please.
We've started doing this thing in my neighborhood. I don't know if this happens in other states, but in Los Angeles, like on busy street corners or just random street corners, there'll be a fruit guy. And he's got like a cart, refrigerated cart, and they cut up fruit for you, or you can buy fruit, and it's just a phenomenal thing. There are all the little leagues as well. It's just awesome. One of my friends brought in one of the guys for a party. It's like a fruit guy at the house, man, chopping up fruit for you. So now we all kind of do it. you're having a party,
Okay.
get a fruit guy at the party. It's
Okay.
incredible. Hey, can I have some mango, some watermelon, and cantaloupe? I go watermelon, cantaloupe. I'm a melon guy, but I don't know why I brought that up. It's on my mind. I want some fruit right now.
Because we're here for the people. We're here for the fans, so that's good. And I want I wanted you mentioned the fans at the end, and I mentioned that this trade probably never happened, or if it were to happen years ago, it would be the Giants traded them every prospect they could to get Rafael Devers, just because we viewed sports through a more analytical lens at the time. That
why do you say it wouldn't happen?
Well, I think it could. I think it could happen because of the drama and everything we mentioned. That it could happen, but like the trade would have been a lot different. This was not a salary dump. But because it's like, well, Rafi Devers gets paid a lot of money to be a DH, like the Red Sox didn't get a haul back. Like this, if money was less of a factor, or back in the 90s or 2000s, we would have just viewed Devers as one of the best hitters in baseball, and he gets paid this.
Because we assign
war. Yes, value,
and because he's a DH, oh my gosh, look at he's not providing enough value to the team. Yeah, I am out on that. Dude.
I know.
You don't like a middle of the order bat that just bangs homers and drives in runs for you. You don't like that? That's crazy. I'm with you on that.
Well, that's where the fan side of this is really messy for Red Sox fans. Sweep the Yankees, 5 out of 6 from the Yankees the last 9 days or so to, I don't want to say save their season because that's a little dramatic, but also save their season. They're 1 game above 500 now, which is actually really close to the playoffs. Trev's going to get you those standings in a little bit, people. But to do this after that, and man, they've seen Devers on the field, I think since 2017. I think he was 20 years old. That part of being a fan, and especially baseball, where you're on the ride with a lot of baseball fans are every day. Like, life starts getting in the way, but it's part of the beauties of being a baseball fan. You throw it on at 7 p.m. It's part of the frustration with baseball being on a ton of different networks. Like, you go on the ride with these guys that you learn their personalities and you know who they are. And Devers taking the deep breath before each pitch and closing his eyes. Like, a lot of Red Sox fans have watched this guy, almost every day during the summer months for 8-9 years. That there is something sad that the Red Sox have now gotten rid of 3 guys who would have been retired numbers, like Red Sox Hall of Famers. There's a fan aspect to the player movement that they, should have never traded Mookie, and I think everyone knows that. I mean, the money that got offered to Bogarts, go off, King. Knock yourself off. Knock yourself off. What?
Yeah.
Don't do that. And then Devers, we mentioned the drama side to it, that I guess what I'm tying to my original part of this is the drama and the new front office. You're trading away what should be a Boston legend. And there's just something wrong to that in general in the game of baseball, but also a lot of it is because of literally the drama show that we talked about that led into this with Breslow, with Devers as a part of it, with Cora, like, you don't need your glove anymore. Like, what are we doing?
I'm Googling Alex Cora quotes, trying to see if he's spoken. I guess on Instagram, he put a picture of him and Devers and said, gracias. Like,
nice.
That's all we've had so far. I'm so curious to hear what he has to say. I can't wait. This series this weekend, Jake, is, you said it, man. It's the best reality show. Like, this is so good. I can't wait. I can't wait to see his first at bat. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. I guess it's a waiting game in Boston to see what they do. To see, I mean, are there moves to be made now for this season, or is this a play for the offseason and 2026? Like, are there more moves coming? Is this, which way does it go? Is this Boston saying, all right, got this money off the books, reallocate it to next year. We still have, a lot of players for certain positions. Do they make more moves and trade away more guys? Or is this like, no. This is for this year, and we're going to go acquire this dude. And where does it go from here?
That's going to be the big, like for San Francisco, that's
They're
the
a half
thing.
game back of the wild card right now.
Standings coming up. For San Francisco, you know what you signed up for. You've gotten one of the most consistent, best hitters in baseball for the last 5 years, however you want to butter knife it. The Devers is one of those guys, and I genuinely, and I think I could just point to the walks, and that's the easy way out. I think if you go year by year, like Devers hasn't put together like the full season that I personally believe he can. And we'll see how that comes together for San Francisco. For Red Sox fans, it just feels so icky because the whole give Heim some time stuff, like we got through that and we didn't give him time. But now these top prospects are along the way, which Breslow and the gang are acting like, hey, look what we got. Like we can trade away Rafael Devers. Like this next crop is going to be the guys. I'm a Yankees fan. We do fan media here. I'm not rooting for the Red Sox. If I was a Red Sox fan, I really hope those guys are dudes, man. Because, like, okay, I'll take a shot at the Yankees a little backhandedly. Like, Anthony Volpe was a top 5 prospect. He's a very good baseball player. He plays great defense at shortstop. He's having a breakout offensive season, which is like a 110 OPS plus, which that's not a guy who can carry you offensively. It's a very solid, good ball player. Adley Rutschman down in Baltimore, number 1 prospect, 1-1 pick, came out of the gates pretty hot. It's been a weird 2 years. I don't know where baseball's at with Adley Rutschman. You're putting a lot of pressure on these kids that I'm not going to go into the sample sizes, but like Christian Campbell, rookie of the month for April, he's now a negative WAR player on the year. He's been the worst defensive second baseman. He had a big slump his second month. Meyer, I've been a Meyer guy from the start. I think it's the hair and just the Eminem name. I think he's a ball player, but what does that mean? Like, if he becomes an 830 OPS a year guy, like, then you would want to pay him the money you'd give to Devers to become that. Roman Anthony, and he's the one that, if we're being honest, I think they're putting all their eggs in his basket. They're banking on him becoming a dude. Like a dude. And that's just really hard and kind of unfair to the prospects in this situation.
But do you think, okay, yeah, we have these guys, they're all up now, okay, regardless of how they're playing at the moment. I think they're all going to be good big leaguers, okay? And I guess that is yet to be seen. But you had Devers going off, one of the best stretches of his career, and you're still 1 game over 500. So does that signal to you we need to try something different, right? I think that's how you can look at it. We need help at different areas because we have all these guys. You want us to keep it, and it's going to make our team so good if we have these guys up and Devers, but they've had it. Maybe not for so long with Meyer and Anthony, but I guess, look, you know what? I take all that back because since they've been up, they're 8-2 over the last 10 games. Standings coming up later. I don't know, man. It's crazy to me. This is, I don't know. There's just so much. Oh, here we go. Yep. Craig Breslow and Sam Kennedy will speak to reporters at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I saw some people not happy it's a Zoom. I'm not really one of those people.
What does that mean? Why?
I think a lot of people want you to do that in person and kind of feel the
heat.
Feel that you just traded away a generational hitter. Like some people are tiptoeing around Devers and being like, yeah, he's good. I don't know. I watch.
You don't give a good player $300 million, bro. You don't.
I tend to agree with that.
You have Matt Olson date my daughter, and I have Marcelo Meyer.
I need a new one.
Yeah.
Marcelo.
I have Marcelo Meyer date my babysitter.
That's real. That's real. That's real shit. Hey, this is completely unfair, but just I brought up top prospects from 2021 just to see.
I love this game.
I know
I love this game.
Number 1, I'll keep this moving quick with no commentary. Wander Franco. Number 2 was Adley. Number 3, Spencer Torkelson. Number 4, Jared Kelnick. Number 5, Julio. So again,
that's pretty good.
There's talent in there, but Okay, it's taken Torkelson how many years to get it going? Like,
he's changed the Tiger season, but yes, he was a negative WAR player before the season.
But that's where it all ties in for the Red Sox. Okay, how quickly are these rookies going to get going? If it's not this year, that's still a massive fail, dude. They were at the end of this preseason, they became kind of your favorites in the American League.
I picked them to win the World Series this year. Or no, lose the World Series to the Dodgers, excuse me. But get to the World Series. I don't know.
Like, there's a very good chance this team doesn't make the postseason.
I mean, I don't know about a very good chance.
50-50, like coin toss? Yeah, man. And then the money side of this, again, this could be nothing. This could be a lot of stuff. The ownership group that owns the Boston Red Sox, they own Liverpool. And congrats to them on winning this year. Talking soccer, talking golf this episode. They just played a guy, Florian Wirtz. You're Florian Wirtz. A good chunk of not too dissimilar to what Devers is getting. I don't know.
Stop.
If you're John Henry and you look at your bank accounts and you say
you're stoked, you're dancing.
Here's 100. Okay, so we're paying that guy $150 million. Okay, I wouldn't hate if we got rid of that $250 million. I don't know.
He just reaches in his pocket. Oh wait, there's another $100 million. We'll be okay.
Maybe the kid's are stud. Maybe the Red Sox are going to spend on pitching, which we've asked them to do more of in the coming years, and they got some more pitching. I don't know, man. If I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm horrified. I'm sad. And it feels like the Red Sox front office is trying to be perfect. And it's just rare that that happens. So maybe in 2 years, we're talking about them absolutely set up.
I just hope this isn't reactionary to the drama. Because you should be able to get over the drama. This is professional sports. You need to get past it. Put the best team possible on the field. I hope this isn't a reaction to them. I don't like his attitude. I don't like that attitude. Because I don't think, and I haven't heard this from guys, I don't think there's like a clubhouse issue. They created sort of one. I'm sure some guys weren't stoked that he was like, I'm not playing that position. Like, I'm sure there are some guys who are like, come on, man. Like, just do it for the team. But overall, I haven't heard like bad clubhouse vibes there. So, if this is their reaction to like not feeling disrespected, like that should never come into play. Like, it should be about, let's put the best product on the field possible, especially if you're the Boston Red Sox. But I feel like it definitely came into play, right? Like,
it was everything.
It did.
It was everything. If
the human element was for sure a part of the reason that he's now with the San Francisco Giants. And if I'm rating the trade for the Giants, you can't give it as many A's. Like, there's just so many A's that you give this. And for the Red Sox, it's right now it's a D with a chance to be an F, but a chance to get to a C+.
And maybe that's a place to land it, Trev, because that for me is there's a lot of baseball people thinking, and that's not always our strength. We're ball players. There's a lot of people thinking, and they're like, the Devers and aging and the DH. I saw a great baseball player go to a different team, and what came back, I don't know what it is. So again, maybe there are smarter than us. Breslow played the game. Maybe they are smarter than us, and they've played this perfectly. It just does not feel that way.
One more just pat on the back for Buster Posey and my Giants.
Yeah.
Okay. On the free agent market, what are the costs to acquire a middle of the order bat right now? $800 million for Soto, $500 million for Vladdy. What is Kyle Tucker going to get? You got a guy, $250 million. It feels like a freaking bargain for the San Francisco Giants. Am I right?
If the Devers walk thing stays real, again, I think since April 1st, he's been a 960 OPS, which that is higher than his career numbers. But it feels like that's who he is, or in the nines. that yes, if Devers hit free agency at the end of this season, you're probably looking at $400 million and him being glad to play first base for a team. So no, I think they've done well there value wise.
For the last since 2021, okay, that's his age 24 season through now. He's got a 359 on base percentage. The walk to strikeout is 1-2. Like, it's perfectly fine, and it's getting better this year. So I'm not worried about that at all.
I think that part's gotten better. It makes sense that it's gotten better. It's going to be interesting to see him in a Giants uniform. They play Cleveland Tuesday through Thursday, and then Boston heads to San Francisco. I mean,
do you think he's going to hit a fly ball to left field and be like, hell yeah, it's a double, and then realize it's just a pop F7 and be like, oh shit, I'm in San Francisco?
Yeah, I definitely, I do think he's talented.
Why is that massive wall in right field, and why is it so freaking cold here in the summertime?
Yeah, he might not like that. I do think I think he's a skilled enough hitter that he not change his swing, but knowing that left field isn't a free fly ball double, I could see him making tweaks along the way. But man, last Buster snaps, Giants can't bring in anyone. Jung-Hoo Lee was the star to start off this season. Willie Adames and Matt Chapman, and now Devers. I got 2 lefty righties. I've got 1 bona fide masher. I've got 3 defensive studs. Like the Giants.
Let's not forget Blake Snell was there too.
Snell was there. He's not anymore. He's on that other team. Robbie Ray gets paid. Can't wait to see the next parts of this story for both teams and for baseball. We thought the best hitter that might get traded this year was Brandon Lau. No offense, Brandon. A lot of teams would still like to have him. Trev, let's get on to the rest of the show, and we're going to figure this out on the fly a little bit. It's brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. Baseball fans, the season is heating up. Every at-bat, every inning, the road to October is taking shape. It sure just did. There's no better time to get in on the action with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook right now. New customers who use code JMBaseball, you can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll score $300 in bonus bets. From walk-off homers to no-hitters. You don't want to miss a pitch. Code JMBaseball. $5 on any wager, $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. JM Baseball only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. That was a Kendrick reference. Oh, the Red Sox swept the Yankees. That's interesting. I didn't even know this series happened. Erased it from my memory. The Boston Red Sox got good pitching, which they've needed, and they got more of. Devers homered in the last game. Yankee fans had bad defense and base running. Scary flashbacks for Yankee fans. They get swept. Boston's back in it. We just did that whole thing. The Reds took 2 of 3 from the Tigers after dropping the first game. They take the final 2. Brady Singer with a nice start. And Ellie De La Cruz back in the mix. You might hear more about him coming up. It was a sweep week in baseball. We had a ton of them. And Trev's Twins got the business from my Astros, including 2 one-run games to wrap it up. A pair of walk-offs, Cam Smith and Mauricio Dubon. Brandon Walter, gross arm angle. They have depth. They're a problem. We'll talk about that. My Mariners bounce back against Chris Rose's Guardians. I got a little H thinking about Chris Rose just sleeping in Europe while all this baseball drama was happening. We haven't even talked about Shohei pitching tonight. Mariners, they swept the Guardians to get back on their winning ways. Jorge Polanco is back hitting for them. That is a good part of the formula. And J.P. Crawford has been so good. Let's go Mariners. The Orioles are back. They sweep the Angels. And some dramatics in the final game. Gary Sanchez grand slam. He's there. Charlie Morton 5 innings shut. Can the Orioles get involved? Baseball's so long of a season. I don't know. The A's sweep the Royals. I'll tell you who's happy there was a Devers trade. The Kansas City Royals. Because they are down and out in a bad way. They get swept by the A's. Sevy with a good start. Kurtz, Nick back hitting. And the final AL series, the Texas Rangers, they sweep the Chicago White Sox. and that should be obvious. Kumar Rocker is just hammering pickle shots. We're getting dehydrated. Rangers are winning games. They're in the mix. The whole AL is. Trev's going to give you the standings right now.
Pickle juice is good for hydration and blisters. Is this a miracle beverage? Love that for us. Yes, I will give you the standings in the American League. I'll start out in my Central, where the Tigers just have a commanding lead, a 9-game lead over my Twins. Tigers 46-27. Twins 1 game over 5, decimated by injuries, 36-35. Cleveland Guardians right at 500, 35-35. The Kansas City Royals 34-38. They're on an L6 right now. And the Chicago White Sox 23-49. In your East, Jake, the Yankees still a 3.5 game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. They're 42-28. Rays 39-32. Toronto still right there, 38-33. As we mentioned, Boston 1 game over 5. They're on a W5 and an 8-2, 37-36. That's a lot of numbers just right in a row right there. And Baltimore around 30-40 out west. Yes, the Houston Astros are an absolute problem. 41-30, a 4.5 game lead over the Mariners, who are 2 games over 5 at 36-34. The Rangers on a W4 get back to 500, 36-36. The Angels 33-37, and the Athletics 29-44 in the wild card for the American League. We have Tampa Bay with the number 1 spot, Toronto with the number 2 spot. It's always been the AL East, people. And then Seattle with a half-game lead in the 3 spot over Minnesota, Boston, 1 game above Texas, Cleveland. That's going to be an interesting race. Those are the standings in the American League. Jake, let's burn that National League, baby. Go.
Oh, just keep cooking. I love it. Those San Francisco Giants, they played the Los Angeles Dodgers. They split the first 2. If the Giants could get another win, they could tie for first place. They don't. The Dodgers don't care about your trade. They care about Dustin May. And oh yeah, Shohei Ohtani, 3 hits. And why don't you grab the pill and pitch tomorrow? We need to talk about that at some point. The Padres and the Diamondbacks. D-backs take 2 out of 3, and they do it in the most Diamondback fashion. We got a 4-run comeback in the 9th. Perdomo with the 3-run triple to tie it. Padres end up salvaging the series. Full pension Piv with a nice start in that last game. Cubbies take 3 out of 4 from the Pirates, and that's obvious. Ian Happ, walk-off RBI single. Fetch me my wine, he yelled to Trev. The Brewers take 3 out of 4 from the Cardinals, and that's obvious, question mark? Brewers playing a little bit of better baseball, and Jacob Mizorowski, that kid can throw the pill, huh? Brewers, where does he come from? Where does he go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? The Toronto Blue Jays, they get swept by the Phillies. The Phillies, after a little June swoon, they are back at it. You might hear something about Zach Wheeler in a little bit. He's going to retire in a couple years. Okay, Zach, thanks for the update. Otto Kemp keeps having nice games for them, and I like that. Ranger Suarez is good again. The Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Rockies, which is slightly disappointing as the Rockies beat them 10-1 on that final game. Yeah. And the series everyone's talking about, the Marlins swept the Nationals. Let's give some Augustine Ramirez back with a 2-homer game. Chanson Junk on the all-time names list. And your final series, the Best Western Road Warriors, brought to you by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. How about the Tampa Bay Rays? They sweep the New York Mets. The Devers trade was great for both New York teams. The Rays outscored the Mets 24-9 in the series. The Rays are hot. They've won 18 out of 24, and the Mets really struggle against them. I think if you go back, the Mets are 5-16 against the Rays. Your Best Western Road Warriors. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. That is what happened in the National League.
You're the best, Poppy. Shout out Andy Pajes with the homer last night, my Cuban ball player. I got the standings in the National League East. The New York Metropolitans, 2.5 games up on the Phillies. They're 45-27. They're sitting on an L3, though, while the Phillies are on a W4. They're 42-29. The Braves, I don't know what to do with the Braves. They ain't the Astros. I think that's my new take on them. We thought they were just going to come back and figure it out. Astros have, Braves have not. They're 31-39, 13 games back Washington Nationals 30-41. And Agustin Ramirez's Miami. Can you just be a better catcher at all? Just like, please do something defensively because you can make a lot of money. You're a good hitter. They're 28-41. That's my advice for you, Augustine. Okay. In the Central, 5.5 game lead for the Cubs over the Brewers. They're 44-28. Brewers 39-34. More on Mizorowski later. I got some things to tell you. The Reds 37-35. They're 7-3 in their last 10. The Cardinals matching that record, 37-35, and the Pirates 29-44. And then, out west, the Dodgers 2-game lead over the Giants after that series win. They're 43-29. Giants 41-31. Padres sitting 3 games back, kind of lurking, I would say. Big series against the Dodgers coming up here. They're 39-31. Snakes 1 game over 5 now, 36-35, and the Rockies 14-57. In the wild card for the National League, the Phillies have the number 1 seed, 2.5 games up on everybody. San Francisco has a 2 seed, and San Diego has the 3 seed. They are 1.5 games up on the Milwaukee Brewers, and then it kind of goes down from there. 3 games up on Cincinnati, St. Louis, 3.5 on Arizona. Those are the standings in the National League, Pop. Go us, go.
Go us, go. We're juggling a lot of balls. Trev, I think we're gonna hit the series a little bit on the rest of the show, or at least highlight some studs from the weekend. But I think the people understand.
We had to talk Dev.
And I think we crushed. Comment below, crushed. Let's get into the standout performances because I think we can start hitting some of the series along the way.
It's time for Standout Performances. This guy stood out for Trev.
Say what?
Ellie always stands out, just like walking around. And he had a big series against the Detroit Tigers. Hit 500 with 3 homers, 6 runs driven in the series. He's had a very, very good month of June. In the month of June, he's hitting 378 with a 481 on-base percentage, and he's slugging 800 for the 1.2. Reds, we talk about you all the time. Need you to just keep going. Just step on the gas just a little bit more. You got to love to see him. He had a great throw, an outfield assist in this game. I think he has 4 of the top 5 fastest infield assists since the StatCast era. Ellie De La Cruz. Love watching you play ball.
There was that sick a couple weeks ago. He threw out Corbin Carroll, kind of speed versus speed, and he got him. Yeah, the offense is back. There was a little bit there with Ellie where it's like, what? The season numbers aren't where the Reds need him to be and not where he should be. Dude, I just like, and it's why there was some preseason like MVP hype if you were not betting Ohtani. Dude, everything's up. The batting average is up. The on base is up. The slugging is up. That's what we looked at last year. And man, it's getting better as a ball player, whether you're Devers, whether you're Judge, whether whoever you are, you kind of have to continuously, because if you're not, and the rest of the league catches up.
The offense, I think, will continue to get better for him as he sees more pitches. For the Reds to go in and take 2 or 3 from Detroit is huge, and they did it against Flaherty, who's been great for them. And then whenever they have Tyler Holton in like a bullpen game, that's I would say it's Scoobs and then Flaherty and then that for like who you don't want to see. And they take 2 or 3. That's a big statement series for the Reds. I think the Tigers just shrug it off like, hey, we got the best record in baseball. Who cares? But for the Reds, I think it's a great litmus test. They passed it, Jake, with flying colors.
Trev, I've tried to quit them, and here we are again. The Reds have a lot of numbers you can like. Like they're 500 against teams 500 or better, which that's tough to do. Like that's kind of high level stuff. They plus 41 run differential. That's better than the Padres. That's better than the Phillies. Like their pitching has been good. People know my Reds conundrum. They're 7-3 in their last 10, 3 games out of the wild card. So like they have to keep going. But if you want to buy Red stock, you need to buy it over Padres, Giants, Phillies stock, which that's real tough. That's real tough. Trev, I'm doing a last minute hot route because that's what this whole episode is. That for my standout, my apologies to Zach Wheeler. I was going to talk about him just dropping it on the table and saying, "Hey, I'm retiring after 27. Does anyone care?" That's what I'm
How
doing.
did that conversation happen? Did I miss, did someone ask him, "Hey, are you retiring after 2027?" Or did he just come out and say it?
I don't know if it was a bad day at the office or a good day at the office. He actually shoved this weekend. His contract is up after 27, and he's going to be 37 years old and had made like $150. So maybe, yeah, no, I'm good after all this. I'm not giving it to Zach Wheeler. 6 innings, 1 earned run. I'm going to go Shohei Ohtani because sometimes we don't give him the standout performer a lot, even though he did hit 2 homers on Saturday. And I believe he's still leading all of baseball in that statistic, the National League. Big Dumpers got him in the AL. 25 home runs. He leads the National League in runs scored, slugging, OPS plus, ROBA. I don't even use that, but why not? Trev, he's pitching today in a major league game, and this is a topic we talked about this last week. We've daydreamed what it could look like. It sounds like Shohei, who again did hit 2 homers on Saturday. If I gave him my standout and he wasn't Shohei Ohtani, that'd still be fine. He's pitching today against San Diego, and it sounds like he's going to go 1 inning in an opener role. So we were wondering, how are they going to use that? People are saying rush timeline because the Dodgers originally said August, but I think that's also fully stretched out. But we're figuring this all out on the fly. So again, now that we're here, I'd love to know what you're thinking on it.
I think teams need to stop saying this is the timeline, and just be honest. We don't really know. We haven't really dealt with a guy that hits all the time and is also one of the best pitchers in the game. So we're just kind of playing it by ear. We're going to see how he feels. That's what you got to say.
Who can't rehab? That's part of the reason it's a full count. He can't rehab in the minors.
Yeah, he can't. I think that's exactly what they're doing. They realize if we're just going to keep pitching him in these simulated games, might as well put him in real games. It doesn't have to be stretched out. I thought they were going to wait till he got to a 75 pitch bullpen. Apparently they don't need to do that. Let's just get him in there. He's looked great. Mark Pryor says he's doing whatever he wants with every single pitch. That's a terrifying statement if you're a hitter. Look out. He probably added a new pitch in his rehab, whatever. So I think that's the route they took. Might as well have him because you can't simulate game speed and he can't go on a rehab. And even if he did go to AAA, that's not the same as the big league. So let's just throw him out there. I believe when they do that, what does the extra roster spot mean? When he starts pitching again, they get to have another pitcher?
Maybe we get.
I keep seeing that and I don't understand it.
Ohtani's return, a way to help reinforce the bullpen. Yeah, I thought it's just he can pitch, stop pitching, and still hit. I didn't think that gives them. I don't think you get another pitcher. We're
running hot here, people, so we're doing this on the fly. But hey, I'm stoked for Ohtani to be back. Jake, there's 2 people that are 1-dotting it this year, and you know who they are.
Yeah, the two new faces of baseball, and I would like
to Ohtani for people who are who are they?
I would like to leave another note here. As Red Sox, Yankees, Hunter Dobbins drops it on the Yankees again, and he was the guy that said I would never pitch for them.
My favorite player in baseball.
Love it. And by the way, it turns out part of that was a misunderstanding because his dad had told him the Yankees drafted him and didn't sign him, and that was just a lie. But hey, if you're going to use the hate in your heart to shove against the Yankees and it works, knock yourself out.
Sports, why people got to love that.
So that's where I wanted to go because, Trev, now we have a Padres conglomerate at our office, but, Padres fan Ryan Cohen, who, if you meet him
Shout out Molly, too.
Molly, we got, we've got a small army forming here. Matty Bregman. Anyways, Ryan Cohen, you meet him in person. He is one of the most, happy-go-lucky, does he know what anxiety is? I don't think so. He's just a straightforward, happy guy. He loves baseball. He loves the Padres. When it was announced that Shohei was starting the Dodgers game against his Padres, he said, "You know what? I love it. Let's go out there and ruin his return." And that is what sports is supposed to be. Screw those guys up north. Great, you're back, Shohei. We're going to knock you around the yard, pa.
Absolutely. That's that. I gave that advice to my youth team who got their ass kicked this weekend, by the
Didn't
way.
need
It was
that.
100 degrees and we got absolutely just,
I
it
didn't
was
need
brutal
that.
for us. But I told you guys can't be scared of the good people, the good players, the good teams. That's exactly why you play sports, to beat those guys. You want to face the best. I've always had that attitude, even though it's probably bad for my career, but I'm like, fuck yeah, man. I'm not trying to skip Justin Verlander or Scherzer day. Like, I want to be in there. I want to see what that ball looks like, and I'm going to get him. I didn't get him very often, but I wanted to.
You should have skipped Scherzer day.
I should have skipped Scherzer day.
That would have been a fine one.
You know what? For my good pal Mike Moustakas, who got to skip a lot of tough lefties, I always tell him that. I'm like, dude, you got to skip all the hard pitchers.
Right.
What's BS?
You got an extra rest day and got to miss the tough lefties. That's.
Hey, Mike, let's go golfing, bro. Come on.
Oh, wow. We're doing that live. Trev, again, we got a lot of guys that need to get some love. And luckily, this part of the show is where people do get love. It's in Fuego.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
I love starting it off with my guy, J.P. Crawford. My tri-tip king. I'm the king, though. You can come at the king, but you ain't gonna get me. 7 for 11 in the series. He had a grand slam in it. 5 runs driven in total. He's actually having a great season, Jake. AL ranks amongst shortstop, 296 batting average. That's third. He has 411 OBP. That's not a misprint.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's first amongst shortstops. Third in OPS, second in rated runs created plus, and fourth in FWAR. He's a good guy and a hell of a ball player, and just kind of like unrivaled swag. Love it for my boy JP. Dane Myers also just a guy I love watching play. He went 8 for 13, a double, a homer, and 3 runs driven in on the series. Fernando Tatis Jr., love watching him play. It's a bunch of guys I like watching play ball, Jake. 8 for 13, 3 doubles, 3 runs driven in. Against the D-backs in his career, he's hitting .335. In 53 games, he's got 20 homers and 46 runs driven in. My goodness. Gleyber Torres, who I believe started the Red Series off with a leadoff homer, and they won that first game, but lost the next 2. He went 5 for 11, a double, 2 homers, 4 runs driven in. Brooks Lee, there's the Twins, love.
Yes. Swept.
They're struggling.
Reminder.
Royce Lewis is injured again. Byron Buxton might be too. Ouch. Brooks Lee goes 5 for 11 in the series. He extends his major league leading active hitting streak to 15 games. He's a ball player. You would love him. Absolute ball player. We were looking at real estate together. He wants to buy something. He said, I can't believe how expensive it is. Yeah, join the club, bro. For the week, we talked about Ellie a little bit, so I don't need to go into this one. We went 12 for 26 on the week. That was all road games. 4 homers, 7 runs driven in. He's an absolute stud. He joins Eric Davis. Look him up in his stats. Johnny Bench and Frank Robinson as the only Reds age 23. He's 23. 23 or younger to homer in 4 consecutive games. Attaboy. Casey Schmidt looked real good for San Francisco. 7 for 20, 3 homers, 11 runs driven in. He had a grand slam in a second straight game versus the Dodgers. He became the first Giants player ever to hit grand slams in back-to-back games. One of them was against Kike. So, we didn't even talk about that.
Okay.
Hey, all the people, they were banging on me for saying I don't like position players pitching, and Kike came out and did it again, and they had to bring in Banda to end the game. They were in my mention saying, maybe you're right, Coach Trev. So it was like a redemption weekend for me. Love that.
That.
Josh Smith goes 11 for 26, 2 homers, 4 runs driven in. Alec Boehm, keep going, big fella. 10 for 24, 2 homers, 9 runs driven in. For the pitchers, I want to get my talk out real quick about Jacob Mizorowski.
Okay.
Drafted in the second round. Remember the draft I did for the Twins?
Yeah.
He went after that guy, Connor Prelip, who might be in the Twins bullpen at the end of this year.
Sure.
Second round. How are teams not picking this guy? He's an absolute monster.
Good question. I don't know.
So, okay. That's kind of on me. Because I picked Connor
Prelip.
Yeah,
you could have said anything.
I could have changed the pick.
You could have said anything up there.
What if I was like, nah, Jacob Mizorowski.
Mizorowski, folks.
He went 5 no-hit innings in his debut, but he had to leave because he had some cramping in his right calf and his quad. I don't know if we have an update, if that's actual just cramping or did he pull it? Not sure. He threw 14 pitches, Jake, of at least 100 miles an hour on Thursday. Coming into the game, Brewer starters, since 2008 had only thrown 8 combined pitches 100 miles an hour or more. So that's they get velo. Love that for them. Jacob Lopez for the A's, second career win. His first one was on October 1st, 2023. They're searching for pitching. I saw this guy throw, actually, and he diced the Twins up. 6 innings pitched, no earned runs, 9 Ks. Little lefty, little Tommy Mill one.
Oh.
Type stuff. You would love him. Spencer Strider, nice game. 6 innings pitched, 13 Ks. He recorded his first double-digit strikeout game since September 19th of 2023. I'm happy for Strider. I like that. I think he's a good guy.
I think what he said. I think his first at bat was 97, 98, 98 strikeout, and everyone was like, "Okay, here we go."
For us.
Yeah.
Emerson Hancock goes 7 innings pitched with 1 walk and 4 Ks. He has a 1.53 ERA and 3 June starts. Your guy Brandon Walter. Are you talking a little bit later about him? So I'll save that. Grant Holmes needs to be on this. He struck out 15 people. They still got the L against the Rockies.
Yeah.
So how about that? Now, Jake, bring us into the guys that are struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hey, man, you've been struggling lately. It's time to pick it up!
Wow. Some Yankees talk. Ben Rice, 5 for his last 39, batting 156 on pitches in the strike zone the last 2 weeks. That's of note because sometimes he's the guy hitting behind Aaron Judge, and you can't really afford that because they'll just throw up the 4s, or Boston will just throw up the 3s and punch his ticket all weekend. Anyways, Tyler Fitzgerald, a couple of these Giants infielders. We didn't talk too much about Casey Schmidt and Tyler Fitzgerald being like, no, we didn't need Devers. 6 for 41. Second lowest hard hit rate on fastballs. That's bad. It's a bad formula. Most pitchers throw that. Josh Lowe, 6 for 46. 081 against righties the past 2 weeks. Baseball's a sick sport, man. When that guy runs into a ball, jeez. Xander Bogaerts, kid, former Red Sox, 9 for 48, slugging 0.00 on high 95 mile per hour pitches. So the high fastball, I guess maybe a high slider.
That's been a big stat for us lately.
Yeah,
pitches over
Dalton
95
really
miles an
likes
hour.
that. I don't know. I guess that shows if you're hitting velo or not.
Okay.
And Bogaerts is not. Mason Wynn, you love yourself some Mason Wynn. So do I, to be honest. But he's been 11 for his last 55, and he is chasing pitches out of the zone the most the past 2 weeks. So those guys are struggling. We talk about their struggles to get them out of it and hopefully see them on En Fuego coming up soon. On the IL side of things, guys who's leaving, who's coming back. Last time we talked to you, we knew Senga got hurt. They're saying 4 weeks. He shut down for 2. Probably going to be a little longer than that, especially the Mets taking care of their prize pitcher. Andrew Chafin with a right hammy as well. Young Jacob Melton, the prospect called up for Houston. He's going to be out for 4 weeks. Kyle Freeland with some lower back stuff for Colorado. Yeah. You mentioned Royce Lewis, Trev. Another hammy. It's hammy season. Come on, people. Stretch him out. Tyler Malley. You always call me out on that one. Right shoulder fatigue. So that's a scary one. No timeline. And Jackson Merrill, concussion IL. Yep, the baseball's better with Jackson Merrill. That's one of my confident statements. Who's back? A pair of catchers with different games. Austin Hedges is back, framing it up and leading for your Cleveland Guardians. Gary Sanchez is back in Baltimore, and he went to the deep part of the ballpark for the Grand Slam. Jordan Walker, he was on a couple of those top prospect lists, just a reminder. He's coming back, and it's about to click, so that's the good news. Austin Gomber, one of the pieces in the Arenado trade that we're going to dive into later. That was a lie, because we're going to start everyone's week. Awards are brought to you by us. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love when we get a big episode like this. You guys are the best. If you've made it this far, subscribe. Make sure you're checking out everything John Boy Media.
Shout out Casey Lynch,
Yeah.
Kelsey's husband.
Father's Day.
Father's Day. Shout out all the fathers out there, man, putting in that work. You don't get days off. I'll tell you that much right now. My award is called "There Is Crying in Baseball."
Oh.
And if you haven't watched A League of Their Own, what are you doing? What's the guy's name? Jimmy Dugan?
Yeah, that's the manager.
Yeah, Jimmy Dugan. Who's the actor that plays him? Why am I drawing a blank?
Tom
on him?
Hanks.
Tom Hanks, pretty famous.
What other trivia questions you got for me?
I'm a little foggy after this weekend, if we're being honest. Tom Hanks, Jimmy Dugan, classic scene. I'm not going to give it away. A League of Their Own is people always say, "What's your favorite baseball movie?" I think it's A League of Their Own. Like Sandlot and A League of Their Own are my top two. Like you have Major League, For the Love of the Game, all these things. League. I think Sandlot and A League of Their Own are my two. But we saw some crying in baseball, and it was awesome. It was Mauricio Dubon, who, by the way, it was his first Father's Day. Just had a kid, and he walked off my Twins, took a cutter from Cole Sands in the 10th. It was 2 outs, so he had to get the knock. It wasn't like a sac fly situation. Brings Harrison Bader back to the wall, that weird like bullpen wall in left field. You got to go around the Crawford boxes. Bader made a nice attempt at it, ends up getting the walk off. But Dubon is going to learn something about being a father. As soon as you have kids, you just start crying in certain instances. When you watch movies that are like a little bit sad or happy,
right?
You start crying. You're at least tearing up. So he needs to get used to this. Shout out the Astros. I wanted to do this award because we were talking about them. Yordan hasn't even done anything for them this year. They have Jose Altuve playing. They're basically trying to hide him from the baseball. Like they just don't want him touching the baseball. It's a weird year for them, but here they are with tradable assets, with a 4.5 game lead in the AL West, just super quietly being the team that they've been over the last decade. And a nice sweep over my Twins for them. But shout out Mauricio Dubon. You're going to be crying a lot more than you think, just so you know.
Congrats to all the new baseball
dads.
That's
awesome. Look at that.
Look at that smile. All the old baseball dads. Mauricio Dubon's he's kind of got one of those Story Ellie baby faces. I feel like we're gonna see him in 10 years and he's still gonna look like he can get it done. I'll give a shout out to Brandon Walter here, Trev, because I watched some of his game this weekend and I was like, oh, they
got another one.
Houston might have tapped into something with this guy. It's a funky arm angle. It's one of those guys you wonder if the league sees him a couple times, will it start changing the results? But he has been nasty. He was 26th round draft pick by the Boston Red Sox. And he was just released. Houston just signed him as a free agent. He's 27. And he's throwing with some absolute funk right now that guys are struggling with. But that's not going to be my award, Trev, because I'm going to give out the Shoot Me Straight award. Trev, I probably need it more from you. Get some more of our late night combos going. Shoot me straight. Tell me the truth. Was I bad today? Do I need more of this? Do I need less of that? That's us. A different thing happened with the Chicago Cubs, who Cubby fans have been a little mad at us just because they're like, hey, the Cubbies are good. Can you talk about them more? And it's almost been like the Cubbies have been too good. They just keep winning series that it's just unfortunately become par for the course that they took 3 out of 4 from the Pirates. Trev, sometimes we look at the Cubs pitching and we're like, I don't know. Feels like there could be a little more juice. And it's not shots fired. It could also be a compliment to the lineup because there's only so many places in that lineup that you could really improve. Ryan Presley, one of the big pieces they got this offseason. He came over and he wasn't looking like Ryan Presley. Trev, this is one of the guys you played with. You always love when that's going on. And it was a slow start. And bullpens can be tough and father time can be tough that, Ryan Presley, after a 0-out, 8 earned run performance, his ERA sat at 7.62. He had a slow April, and it was, I don't know, where are we at? He asked our guy, Ian Happ, in the locker room, hey, what's the scouting report? Like, if you're coming up to face me, what do you got? Like, be real with me. Since that conversation. Ryan Pressly is yet to give up an earned run. And his last 16 games, 15 innings pitched, a 0 ERA, a strikeout an inning. And he was a guy that before the season, we talked about how Houston operates differently and, a part of a couple big Cubs-Astros transactions. Ryan Pressly, shoot me straight, man. He got it, and he's looked great for the Cubbies.
Sometimes I think that's great to go, either way. Talk to somebody that's faced you before or, knows how they would approach you. It goes for the hitter as well. Ian Happ could have shot it right back at him. Like, what do you think? What would you do to me?
Right.
But those are some excellent ball conversations. And it has led to him kind of finding himself, stabilizing that Cubs bullpen. And we do. Maybe we'll sit down next episode and give the Cubs some proper love. There's a few teams that, we skipped over today because we had some big news that maybe we'll dive a little bit deeper and give them some love. Cubs being one of them.
It was a big sweep week, but it was baseball doesn't own 24 hours a lot. And between Shohei coming back, the Devers trade, even after just the Yankees getting swept and the Red Sox are back, a big weekend for baseball. We can't thank you guys enough. We will be back midweek. I don't think we're here Friday because we're Fanatics live show. We'll figure out some logistics behind that, but we love you either way.
Jake sucks.
Sup, Jake?
Big freaking pop.
Jacob Mizorowski supposed to make his second start Wednesday against the Cubs.
There we go. Former twin, Jacob Mizorowski.
Could have been.
You had the power. I don't think you did.
Not really sure.